Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm currently working on my in-depth camera comparison between the Pixel 8 Pro, the 15 Pro Max and the S23 Ultra. While comparing the portrait photos, I felt really disappointed at Google and how they treat this type of photo with complete ignorance. And there are some wrong things they do that can easily be fixed using Google's own apps and settings. But it will only happen if they care. I created a separate video for this, hoping that it will deliver the message to Google and make them take it seriously. So let me start with the first problem. This is a 2x portrait using the Pixel 8 Pro. At the first glance, it doesn't look like a bad photo, but once you put it next to a portrait taken with the 15 Pro Max, that's when you will start to see the problems. The Pixel photo is a bit dark and lacks life. This is happening because the shadows are a lot darker than what it should be. When you look at the right side of the photo, you will see how dark is my arm, neck, and face. To visualize the difference, I edited this shot in Google Photos and adjusted the shadows slider to +20, and that's the only change I did. Look at how much better the photo looks now. And in my opinion, it looks better than the 15 Pro Max's shot after this small adjustment. And when I zoom in on my face, you can see how the darker shadows of the original photo exaggerates the imperfections in my skin. I'm not asking for hiding them, but I don't want to exaggerate things either. So I completely disagree with Google's approach in darkening the shadows in portraits. And the second problem speaks for itself, the edge detection. I'm really asking myself how many years Google needs to fix such an annoying issue. The Pixel 6 was bad, the 7 was bad, and the Pixel 8 is also bad. They only have time to release 100 new AI features per day, but not to fix such a small thing. It's either the camera team at Google is understaffed or the person in charge is just too lazy to look into it. But anyways, as a workaround, I took the same shot again using the normal camera mode to apply the blur effect in post using Google Photos. And that gave me two big advantages. First, I was able to use the 50 megapixel resolution, which is something you cannot do in portrait mode. And look at how crisp is the photo now. It's insanely clean, sharp, and pleasing to look at. But the shadows are still dark. So I edited the photo, increased the shadows to +20, same as last time, and applied the blur effect all in Google Photos. I have to say that I'm really impressed by the results when I did it that way. The level of detail is insane, and the subject isolation around my face is perfect. So if Google already have the tools to make the portrait shots that impressive, I don't know what's stopping them from doing it. I'm not saying that all portraits have to be in 50 megapixel, but even the 12 megapixel shot looked so much better after adjusting the shadows, and I'm still happy with it. So when you look at all three side by side, you will see that the original version looks the worst. But I found that the 1.5x portrait doesn't suffer from the dark shadows like the 2x version, and you will clearly see this when I put a 2x and 1.5x portraits side by side taken from the same distance at the same time. So if you don't like the darker shadows like I do, it's better to use the 1.5x zoom level or edit the 2x photo after the fact. So here are my suggestions to Google to enhance this area. Number 1, use Google Photos edge detection instead of the camera app version, which is terrible. I think you can easily embed it in the camera app or at least learn from your own colleagues how they did it and just do the same instead of working like two isolated teams that don't communicate with each other. Number 2, if you think the darker shadows is the way to go for portraits, that's fine. But at least give me the option as a user to save my own camera settings instead of pushing me to adjust the shadows slider before hitting the shutter key or edit each and every portrait I take. I don't see it hard to do because the iPhone already have what it's called photographic styles. You get 4 different presets with the ability to adjust the tone and the white balance manually and reuse these settings every time. I suggest to do the same for each camera mode separately and also add the shadows and the brightness sliders to the options, which will make it even more flexible. Number 3, I don't see it hard to use the 50 megapixel mode in portraits. You already did a great job adding it to all lenses. It supports night mode, it works with macros and astrophotography, and when I tried this approach manually, it worked really well. But this is not everything. The fourth issue is you are not allowing the 5x telephoto lens to take portraits. So take a look at this 5x photo and put it next to the iPhone 15 Pro Max's 5x portrait. And lastly, the edited version after adjusting the shadows to +20 and added the blur effect in Google Photos. I think after those two small edits, it's safe to say that the 8 Pro is the superior when it comes to the quality and delivered better edge detection, especially when you look around my hair and beard. And this is what bothers me the most. I know for a fact that the 8 Pro takes much better photos, but Google is not able to use this amazing camera the right way. Last but not least, let's talk about the colors. Skin tone wise, the Pixel is more accurate to me, but you might be wondering what's the real color of my t-shirt, as both look totally different. And here the 15 Pro Max did capture the t-shirt color exactly the same as I see it in real life, while the Pixel decided to make it completely blue. This is one of the exceptions, and I only faced this issue with this specific color, but it's worth noting because maybe the other shades of the same color would encounter the same issue, which I believe Google should address it as well. So let's do a quick recap before ending this video. We talked about how the darker shadows in portraits negatively impacts the overall look and exaggerates the skin imperfections, which is not a great idea. I also showed you how the edge detection of Google Photos is much better than the camera app version, which is something Google can easily utilize in the camera app, or at least offer the same performance across all apps. Third, there is no point for not allowing the 50 megapixel resolution in portraits, as it's easily achievable by taking a normal 50 megapixel shot and add the blur effect in Google Photos after the fact. Fourth, we should be able to take 5x portraits same as other phones, which is also possible on the Pixel, but Google made it harder by forcing users to add the blur effect later in Google Photos, which is technically the same thing. And lastly, Google should optimize the camera not just for the skin tone, but work better with the rest of the colors in the photo. So I hope this video will help you take better portraits with your Pixel 8 Pro and deliver a message to Google to address these minor issues that could make a huge difference in the quality and make this phone one of the best in taking photos of people. So I think that's pretty much it for today. Please let me know in the comments what are your opinions and if you think Google should do these adjustments or not. But for now, thanks so much for watching and see you in the next video.